Kislev versus Beastmen. ODM Sexy Boy on the Beastmen versus RTK's Boss Toss on Kislev. Don't show a lot of Kislev on the channel because they are generally in multiplayer considered to be overpowered and very boring. But once again, I do need to remember that not everybody is as glued to the multiplayer scene as I am. Maybe there are people out there who still enjoy Kislev, so let's give them some screen time, eh? Frontline for the Beastmen of Pestigors and Ungor herds. Centaurs on the flanks, Chaos Warhounds. We do have 5 Ungor Raiders, 2 Minotaurs with Great Weapons, and Malagor Dark Omen Flock of Doom in the sky. Pestigors and Flock of Doom on Malagor have become very much the Beastmen meta ever since the DLC. Pestigors are a strong frontline unit. I guess that's an understatement. But Malagor's very efficient spellcasting with Flock of Doom just generally being cheap and reliable, plus his super cheap price point and being super fast and super tanky makes him a super duper lord. You didn't think I was going anywhere with all the supers, did you? But I was doing a thing. On the other side for Kislev, 1 heavy war sled for a bit of skirmishing, but also just infinite infantry clearing in the late game. A front line of Kislevite warriors backed up by armored Kossars and Kossars with spears, so a very mixed front line of infantry. Love to see it. I actually do love to see it. Winged Lancers and Kossovite Dervishes, and then we do have the Ice Witch of Ice on her Frostworm. I like this a lot versus the Beastmen. Since Malagor is so infamously hard to kill, just guaranteed damage every time you click on him will be very good. He doesn't have the highest HP pool, so it'll do good, solid damage over time. Early skirmish is in. The heavy war sled's getting a little bit of poke out, but they won't get that much done, unfortunately, for themselves. And actually, in a rare instance, Kislev is outgunned. 5 Ungor Raiders should outshoot the armored Kossars and Kossars with spears. Just because Kislev tends to have a lot more hybrid range than the enemy. They can usually shoot their way out of bad situation. But with this number of Kislevite warriors, and then the enemy bringing a lot more archers than I'm sure anyone expected out of the Beastmen, it's tough. Heavy war sleds getting a bit of a charge, just doing some disruption, then pulling back before the Minos can really get into position and stop them. Minos do get here, they get a little bit of poke, but the Kislevites will shoot them on the way out and maybe get some good damage as the Beastmen have advanced. Firing at the low armor, no missile resistance, no shield Kislevite warriors is a very good choice. Nice way to get through that front line without having to just take a whole bunch of armor-piercing damage to the face. The Minotaurs are going to pull back now that all the Kislevite archers are aiming at them, and there's a bunch of halberds in the area. They want nothing to do with this, so they run. And already Dire Blood is popped for some of the Kislevite warriors. On the far side, Dervishes lose to a superior light cavalry. Centaurs are maybe the best light cav in the entire game, and Dervishes are learning that the hard way. As over here, Winged Lancers will do much better. Glorious Charge is a hell of a drug. As you can see, they are whooping on the Centaurs, but also just being heavily armored versus regular Centaurs is not a great time. Over here, we see the same story. Winged Lancers are chilling while the Kossovite Dervishes are dying, and the Centaurs are overall taking some damage. But it seems like the Beastmen are just overrunning the enemy lines. Malagor being so much cheaper than this Ice Witch on her giant mount. Oof, and that Pestigor debuff is so brutal. Minus 75% speed. Makes her go down to 19 speed as she's just walking around because the Pestigors routed somebody else nearby. That is such a brutal debuff, and Pestigors really need a nerf. CA, balance patch when? Stop helping campaign. No one cares about campaign. Everybody likes multiplayer. That is a joke before you hop into my comment section and just fucking roast me about it. I know it's a campaign game. I just like the multiplayer part. Oh yeah, there's a game going on. Alright, let's cast and escape then. Heavy war sleds just kiting away from the Minotaurs' great weapons. Kind of pathing into them a little bit though, so they are going to take a lot of damage now that the Minotaurs finally made contact. Already taking them down to half HP, and if they get any more good swings off, it would be meaty chunks. Balance power is slightly Beastman favored, but I am rather concerned. Most of the archers are still uncontested. There's a good amount of mobility left for the Beastmen where they need it. Malagor's at half HP, but he should be fine. And for Kislev, I mean, we have a couple archers and regular Kossars and stuff. I guess the Ice Witch of Ice is fine, but archers should be able to shoot her in the late game if they spread out and make sure not to be sitting on top of each other or something. The Centaurs and Minotaurs charging back in to get the heavy war sleds. One of their models has already died. There is a Snow Leopard summon out for, it looks like, about 50 more seconds. This Frostworm caster is just running around, doing its darndest to get rid of the Centaurs, but they're healthy enough they shouldn't tear her out. Not yet, anyway. The Beastmen continue to rout off more Kislevites. A lot of them have even shattered, not even going to let these guys come back once or twice or 3 times. Down to 2 heavy war sleds instead of the original 4. Another Ice Maiden's Kiss really damaging the Ungor Raiders. And some Wing Lancers have shown back up after beating up on Centaurs, and they are going to get into the back line. Beastmen need to peel back some Minotaurs with great weapons to get over here and help out the Archers. Since the Archers are going to be a lot of your late game power versus this Ice Witch. The Minos are just too beat up to contend with her. She is anti-large and armor piercing, so you can't rely on a 1/4 health Minotaur to kill an entire lady, so you will need your Archers for that. Minos run out like they needed to charge against the Wing Lancers who are distracted fighting the Archers. It's going to be a lot of good damage onto a heavy cavalry that you need to get rid of at this point in the game. You love to see it. More Centaurs are sweeping up the Kossars and the armored Kossars in the back line. Heavy War Sled still at 2 models, but at only 900 HP and falling. They are definitely not feeling great about that. And Malagor continues to be a turd. So how are we doing? Kislev's down to 300 model count. Beastman's still at 900. Malagor is stuck fighting some armored Kossars, but imagine 1 or 2 more Flock of Dooms will see him to safety. In his absence, Ungors and Ungor Raiders are trying to peel back. It looks like for now they're shooting at the heavy war sleds. It looks like they're done with this mobility and just want to get this game to a point where it's literally just the Ice Witch. Malagor flies away from the armored Kossars after a while, giving up on it. Wing Lancers are taken out. But now the Archers of the Beastmen have taken a lot of damage. There's only 1 that's relatively healthy, and it's still getting obscured by Heavy War Sled, which did just lose a model. Down to 600 HP. 1 model. We do have Centaurs that could close in and hit it. It looks like some are. Fireblood is popped for them. Bounce power shifts heavily against the forces of Kislev, as it looks like they are all routing except for this Ice Witch, who did take a fight with the Minotaurs eventually, is down to half HP. Malagor dives in, Centaurs dive in, and we have Archers shooting her at point-blank range. That's going to be a lot of damage out. It'll be a Beastman win. Nice job, Joy Boy. Not Joy Boy. I'm so used to casting Joy Boy's games. This is Sexy Boy. Different clan, actually. ODM versus MTK. But versus RTK. So, shared universe. Scrolling through the values, nothing really stands out as like, that's crazy, wow, just like most things doing their part. Wing Lancers did pretty well, so yeah, you love to see it. Good job, lads. Roar. Subscribe, yes.